for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To my colleague, my Democrat colleague from West Texas, our heartfelt condolences to Corporal Lopez and his family, and for that ultimate sacrifice. We can debate, and I'm about to really launch into the debate over the tax and spend bill, but we stand united for our troops and for those who are willing to give up their tomorrow or their today so that we can have a future in this country. And so God bless the Lopez family, and thank you for your remarks. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to congratulate a few outstanding members of the next generation of West Texans. The Wiley Little League baseball team from Abilene, Texas, represented not only District 19 well, but the whole state of Texas in the Little League World Series there in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. This team knows what it's like to compete in true West Texas fashion. The success of this team is unprecedented, winning against teams from Washington, New Jersey, and Nebraska. To the Wiley All-Stars, their proud parents and coaches, and especially manager Reggie Regala, West Texas is so proud of you and all of your achievements and your outstanding representation of West Texas in Congressional District 19. Thank you. Go All-Stars, and God bless West Texas. Mr. Speaker, we are, as a nation, looking down the barrel of the largest tax and spend proposal in the history of the United States. This, while our nation suffers from a recession and major runaway inflation on account of policies from my Democrat colleagues to sideline labor by paying people more to be on unemployment than to go to work. So you have labor sideline, which distorted supply and demand. You also had a bill that was $2 trillion with the flag of COVID relief wrapped around it to bail out union pensions and blue states and blue cities that were broke before COVID ever hit our shores. This has created inflation, a tax on every American. And the answer from my Democrat colleagues is to tax the middle class, to chase jobs back overseas. After the tax cuts lifted 6 million people out of poverty, gave us the largest wage increase in 20 years, the largest household income increase on record. We want to tax our job creators. We want to load the working man and woman and families with lower wages, with higher cost of goods and services. That's what the tax will translate to for these folks. So this is not only the largest tax increase, it's not only the largest spending boondoggle, it is the largest redistribution of wealth, the largest expansion of government, the most radical reimagination of our government's role in the American people's lives in the history of our country. I believe that. I don't think that's hyperbole. And what are we taxing to make America less competitive and to put more burden on the American people? To what end? To pay for the Green New disaster, in my humble opinion. They're extreme environmental policies based on the premise that we'll have an apocalyptic end of the earth in 10 or 15 years. Trillions of dollars while we cede economic leadership to the likes of China and Russia. We give them the keys to the kingdom, and we end up defaulting our energy independence, which is such an important part, not only of our economic prowess, but of our national security. We're racking up debt that is completely unsustainable. Mr. Speaker, this bill represents $27,000 per household on top of $200,000 per household already of the $28 trillion in debt. This bill will not be paid for, ladies and gentlemen, and we continue to put a deferred tax on our grandchildren, and we rob them of their freedom and their future in this great country. All of this because income inequality crisis or a climate crisis, or before it was the COVID crisis. Let me tell you the crisis the American people are concerned about. The chaos and lawlessness at the southern border, along the border of my home state. They're concerned about the runaway inflation and the crisis of being able to make ends meet. They're concerned about the crisis of the debt that will be borne by their children and grandchildren. They're concerned about the sustainability of the safety net for our seniors, Medicare and Social Security Both are insolvent in less than 10 years, and my Democrat colleagues didn't spend a dime, not a dime, of the trillions of dollars to make sure that wasn't the case and that we could fulfill that promise. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Nevada.